Ahoy hoy. This is the final video. Excuse me. This is the final video for the Rastacaster, the new wave Rastacaster, before it goes off, and it will not be published until that guitar arrives at its final location. Still got to work out how to send it. All I know so far is that I've definitely got to put it in a hard case and loads of packaging, so I have bought more bubble wrap and cardboard than I know what to do with. Anyway, thought I'd have a final look back at it, things I don't like, things I do like, and of course my history with Telecasters. Like many people, my first Telecaster was a copy, a bit like this one. This is a Stag. In Gavin's Grotty Guitars, you'll see one of the very first projects I ever did was updating a Telecaster Stag to be a cross between two of Jeff Beck's early Telecasters. I haven't videoed that yet, and that guitar isn't here. It's what got me hooked on upgrading and rejuvenating, revitalising, resurrecting guitars. This, however, is an excellent version of the Telecaster. If I can find my wire, where is it? If you haven't got a Telecaster, it's one of the standards. Everybody makes them. I don't like them, but Gavin, I can see at least 4 in this picture frame. Doesn't mean I don't buy them. What it is basically 2 planks of wood. Things I don't like about them. Okay. Number 1. Where's the profile on that? It's just a solid lump of wood. There's no profile on it at all. One lump of wood bolted onto another. Where's the flair? Where's the artistry? That's not what it was about. It was about Leo Fender making an easy to make, easy to repair, simple thing. And hats off. It's the McDonald's of guitars. Simple, everybody likes it, nothing to complain about. Does have a nice individual tone. He says, turn the volume up. So what it's mainly known for is that quite bitey bridge and more mellow neck, and put it in between. Nothing wrong with that at all, apart from I don't like the neck, I don't like the body, and I don't like the sound. I don't even know what this cost me. It was probably about 50 or 60 quid second hand. As a starting place for a project guitar, this is a good place to start. That's quite a nice burst as well, actually, isn't it? Nothing wrong with it, nothing right with it. Then, one day, amazing, all of these stories come around Scotland, but so I found this second hand in a guitar shop in Stirling. It's no longer there. Bit of a shame. It was second hand. It's still in a mess. There are little things I should have picked up at the time. If I remember to take photos, we can zoom in. It's clearly been refretted, and there's trickles of super glue between the frets. It is a simple job to clean up. Why would you leave it like that? I changed the scratch plate from a white one to a black one because I think it looked a bit cooler. It's got a more modern bridge. It's a made in Mexico Fender. Yes, I actually own something by Fender. After buying it, thinking, at last I've got a Fender, I know what a real guitar feels like, I realised I hated it. This hasn't come out of its case in probably about 4 years. Is there anything wrong with it as a guitar? No, not really. It's just some people like curry, some people prefer Chinese food. That's what it is. This is what a perfect Telecaster should be like. I would change the pickups because, okay, the bridge, the neck one, it's fine. The bridge is just a bit weak. That's me. It's find out what year it is when I take it back upstairs. But it's a reasonable Telecaster. Wilco Johnson uses one, and you can't argue with him. So ever since I've had these, it's how can I improve on it? How can I get rid of the bits that I don't like? And so luckily, when Pete asked me to make him one, I could address some of those things. So here it is. Almost perfect. There's a reason for that, and once I tune up I'll tell you. Back in the room. So, little things I changed with this. If you've been seeing any of my other builds, you know that I'm not really a big fan of plastic coating a guitar. Yes, they look shinier. Yes, it protects the body more. I think it sucks a lot of sound which could be had there from the timber itself. Also, an oil coating is a much nicer feel. Pickups, the Iron Gear pickups, I love this single coil. It's just something I never thought I'd like. The bridge, the neck pickup, whoa baby, and in between it's as you've heard before. Or even, yes, it is there. It's all there. So, things I've changed. Body, we've got an arm carve. We've got a slight belly carve because Pete's lost a lot of weight. I've got the recessed neck things instead of that big plate, and with a better angle for higher access there. I didn't change any of the carves here, as he wanted it traditional. Body thickness is quite a thing. I think the Stag is the thinnest, this is next thinnest, and then the Fender one is 45 mils thick. I mean, really thick. Which, more wood, more tone, that's an argument, but it's a little bit unwieldy. You need it to be a bit better. I've done my neck carve, which is probably a bit thicker in that dimension. Jumbo frets on here with an ebony board give a bit more balance. You saw on the previous videos that we had a red corian nut. Pete mentioned in 2 emails to me, "Oh, I've got a brass nut for my Stratocaster and it's really good." Okay, I can take a subtle hint, Pete. So I've made a brass nut up. Got 3mm brass sent in the post. No more difficult than anything else to carve. Rather good fun. I hope I haven't ruined my files. However, locking tuners as well. Locking tuners are just worthwhile buying, okay? For almost every style of guitar that there is. Just go and do it. Traditional bridge. Why not go with something a bit more modern, with individual things? Well, wanted a bit more traditional style on this, so I went with these. But as I've mentioned before, it's the Wilkinson one, so it's got compensated saddles, so the intonation is a bit more spot on for each string, and they're brass, so that adds a bit more tone in. I've got locking strap on here. Things I would do differently at the end of each project, so let's turn this off. Yes, I would change things. I would always change things. Well, Richard Branson always said that every time he took a flight, he would find 10 things that he wanted changed on his flight from the perspective of the client. And that's what I've been doing in the last 2 weeks. Might not agree with Richard Branson on a lot of things, but it's always a good thing. What 10 things would you change? Number 1, I would recess these a bit more. Why haven't you? Well, because I've taken the body down to about 41 millimeters, there's not a lot more room in that width to do it, because the screws will come out of the fretboard. So I'm not going to do that. Number 2, just down here, it looks like the neck doesn't fit properly. It looks like there's a gap, but it isn't. It's where I've sanded the neck cavity, and the sanding has gone over like that. And on this side as well, it's gone round. So, for about 0.5 millimetre to 1 millimetre wide, it just goes over the edge a little bit. So it doesn't look like it's a decent fit. If you watch the previous videos, you'll notice I can actually lift this darn thing up by the neck without screws in, so we know it's a tight fit. But for finishing, that's despicable. Another thing I would change is the truss rod access hole. I put in, after making the truss rod and putting it in and putting the fretboard on top, I think I would change the order of that in order to ensure that it's in exactly the right place, because I did it by working out the middle, blah blah blah. It's about 1 millimetre off to this side, so that if you need to tune your Allen key in to change the neck, you need to kind of put it in there. Will anybody notice that? No. I've noticed it though. I would also change when I put 0 fret, or the nut. I'd move it down about 1 millimetre or 2, because I've put it this far back, it's where the neck flares out, so that I've had to put a slight angle on the nut there. A bit annoying. I would also try and borrow somebody's laser colour printer so I can do colour water slide decals. I can't. Because of the difference in the timbers, there's a difference in the colour going on here. So I would rather redo this and make the neck a darker colour. More coats of dye? Probably. I wish I'd known Pete wanted a scratch plate beforehand, because I would have planned it out with one, rather than having to do a bit of nibbling and sanding and changing it to make it fit properly. It's about a millimetre or two too far this way. Slightly annoys me. What else would I change? I love the neck profile, so I'm never going to change that. I'm kind of jealous, really. Other things that I would change are merely a personal taste. And you'll see from the next two projects that I'm going to do, the Doomcaster and the one after it, which I'm already planning, I'm going to put my little preferences into the builds. This was to somebody else's preference. You do what the client wants. I'm really pleased with this. Pete, I hope you are too. Go out, use this in anger, and in a year's time when I'm back up and I'll see you, we'll do a free setup and see how it's changed. Until then, many thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing you when the Doomcaster's finished. Toodaloo!